Good morning, everybody. We are live. Dr. Nelson, I'm gonna let you take over while I start up Instagram.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Memorial Day, correct?
It is
Okay.
Memorial Day.
It's May 26, 2025, and this is Dr. Kill's morning meetup. Today we have Dwight accompanying us. We have Alia down here from the other side. And I'm Dr. Nelson Vasquez. Thank you for being here. And just a couple of things down in the description. You have where to go and sign up for the Kills Mighty Tribe. I'm hoping everyone here is already a member, but if you're not a member, go and sign up. It's going to cost you nothing. It's free. Just sign up. Of course, you're going to have to provide your email. But today we have a Zoom call later at 5:30. Tomorrow at 6 a.m. and then in the afternoon we have two wonderful stories. I'm not going to even spoil it, but they are great for tomorrow morning at 6 and 3 p.m. as well. Okay. All right.
And that's me. That's the Dr. Kilts. He's still on the West Coast, but hashtag today is Dwight for a giveaway in the Kilts Cup to get a Kilts Cup. There we go.
All righty. So Dwight, how are you doing this morning?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. Thank you, Dr. Nelson.
Where are you located this morning?
I come from Six Nations, Ontario in Canada.
Okay. All right. And what time zone is that? We're in the Eastern time zone.
It'd be the same time zone.
Okay.
Yep. Right now it's 6:02 in the morning.
All righty. Ali, are you at 6:02 also? Or are you?
No, I'm 5:02.
5:02. Okay.
I'll be 6:02 in November when the time changes. My favorite time of year.
So Dwight, go ahead, tell us who you are and what you do, and tell us about your story. Time is yours. People, please, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you highlight them with QQQ, that will be great, because then Alia can see them better. Also put the hashtag Dwight with the questions. And go ahead, Dwight.
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me on today. My name is Dwight Garlow. I'm located at Six Nations. I'm an entrepreneur. I got a few businesses that allow me to do what I guess we're going to talk about soon, which is my time of giving back to my community and my people. I've been a carnivore now for 6.5 years, and for me, that started out by walking into my doctor's office and him giving me the news of I was a type 2 diabetic. And in that same appointment, he had me on, or wanted me to be taking 5 different medications as I...
5 new medications in your first?
Yeah, 5 new medications for my... Wow. So when I walked in, I was sitting there, they did my blood pressure, and when I left, he wanted me on an anxiety pill. Maybe I made him nervous because I did get nervous because I'm not a pill person. So when he said I was a type 2 diabetic, that kind of, it did scare me, because I was a medical transportation person. That was one of my businesses. And so I was driving people to dialysis. I was driving diabetics to their amputations, eye surgery.
Wow.
And that was, to me, one of the worst things you could get was type 2 diabetes. And at the time, I didn't know how to get it or how it comes about or how anyone gets it. Was it genetic? I didn't really have at that time very many family members that I knew that were type 2 diabetic or any sorts of diabetes, right? And so that scared me when I walked in and he says that, and my anxiety, my just went crazy because I'm thinking that I'm going to be getting amputations, right? I'm thinking that um, that I'm getting
The complications of diabetes,
yeah.
and you're
the-
right. If you have diabetes, those are coming, right? There are all kinds of different complications, but eventually you're at very high risk of getting them, of course.
right. And so he also put me on a hypertensive medication, put me on metformin, rapapazole for GERD or heartburn. There was one other one. I can't remember what the other one was, but all in that one setting. So I left that appointment with a prescription for 5 different meds, and thankfully it was my pharmacist. When I went down to get it fulfilled, which at that time I still wasn't sure if I was going to be taking this stuff. I like doing research, so I was going to research all the different medications that he prescribed me. But my pharmacist, he's the one that told me a little bit more about metformin and how it could down the road make things worse, which confused me even more. Like, why would my doctor give me something that made me worse? Anyway, so that was 6.5 years ago. And ever since that diagnosis, I dove deep into the health side of, I guess, taking my own journey into my own hands.
And then how did you figure out how to do carnivore? How did that come about?
Oh, that started slow. So in the very beginning, I did vegan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I went. So this scared the heck out of me, right? And I didn't know what was causing what. So I went vegan thinking that was going to help me. And it did. It did. It brought my HA1C down a little bit. But as I was getting more vegan or more into, okay, how much protein do I need? How much do I got to be eating for all my macros, right? I quickly learned I could not eat enough vegetation to fulfill my protein needs, let alone my fat needs. My plate, like, you have to eat so much vegetation. You basically got to eat like gorillas do, or horses or cows do, in order to sustain that protein
And
need, right?
are we gorillas, by the way?
No, we're not gorillas.
Do you
No.
remember? Do you remember your hemoglobin A1C?
Yeah, it was 6.8.
Okay, yeah, we're diabetic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so what did you do after going vegan? It wasn't sustaining you. What was the next change you made?
I always said that I was going to reintroduce meat. I thought going vegan was going to make me healthy again. And I quickly, my HA1C did come down, but I could only get it down to about 5.8, and it just wouldn't come down anymore because I was eating massive amounts of vegetation. I don't know if that was the cause of the HA1C staying high, because I fixed everything. I fixed my exercise, I fixed my sleep, which means to me, I fixed my cortisol issues that I might have been having. But so after about, I'd say about 8 months of vegan, I saw an episode of Joe Rogan and Sean Baker. So I saw that episode, and during that episode, somebody mentioned something about people getting rid of their diabetes on the carnivore diet, and it was that day that I just flipped the switch and cleaned out the cupboards, cleaned out the fridge, and went and bought some meat.
Mhm.
and I haven't looked back since. It's been 6.5
So you jump into it.
years now. Yeah, I do. So I'm
Mhm.
kind of an extremist in that sense, that if something's gonna work better, or I'll just jump in and give it a try, and I'll take it to the extreme. And yeah, my after that, shoot, I got my HA1C down to 4.7, and
Wow.
that didn't take
Wow.
long either. Yeah, that was within 4 months. It was down to 4.7.
So you
But
made multiple lifestyle changes. It wasn't just the diet,
no,
but you mentioned you worked on your sleep, exercise. Basically, you changed everything that we consider lifestyle, including the diet. And then when you made the ultimate change, meaning the last change you made, going carnivore, that took you the extra mile, correct?
yes, yes, yep. Carnivore, I never felt better. Still don't. Like I can't
Mhm.
imagine uh, not giving this advice to somebody. Like just how good you feel when you're eating. I guess the proper human diet.
Now you
Mhm.
you are from Six Nations. You're heavily native of these continents, right?
Yeah.
And uh, you actually, your ancestors' diet, in particular, more than other places on this globe, were mostly carnivores because they didn't have that many vegetables around. Is that correct?
Oh, for sure. Like
Yeah.
so and we don't even got to go back that far, right? Maybe 400 years ago. As I would, I'm guessing, or when I'm looking into the research of stuff as to when we started. I don't want to say colonizing, but when we started adopting a different diet because of food scarcity, right? But my people right now, what are we in May? So we'd be definitely be eating meat, right? The first berry that our people would have or eaten, or my people would have eaten, would have been June. The strawberries in June, which are coming out. You see a whole bunch of um, the flowers are the flowers are out right now for the strawberries, and they're not very big. These things are the size of your baby fingernail,
Mhm.
and it takes a lot
To
of
feel
picking to get a feeding, right? But so that's our first. We have a strawberry ceremony in June, and unfortunately, those ceremonies are not filled with the proper strawberries. But they're the big apple-sized strawberries that we have now, full of glyphosate. But yes, my people definitely would have been eating mostly meat through fall, winter, and spring.
okay. Uh, do we have any questions, Alia?
Yeah, but my question, first, Dwight had some questions for you. Dwight, you had some questions, right, for
Oh yes,
Dr.
yes.
Nelson?
So I watched your videos with Baker and Chafee and Kilts, and I I guess I my question to you is, what was your experience with switching to carnivore?
Well, we're approaching 700 days on carnivore, actually.
Congrats,
Next
congrats.
month, it will be 2 full years on June 29th. I've reversed diabetes as well, hypertension, gastroesophageal reflux, plantar fasciitis, 4 different causes of numbness and tingling in my feet. I still have some, but they have improved tremendously. Eyesight is better, hearing is better. It's not perfect by any means, but uh, they are objectively better. A bunch of different stuff, little stuff like nail fungus or little eczema. Many nuisance diagnosis there. And it's all either gone or improved tremendously with a carnivore diet. I also went, in my first few months, I discovered a bladder tumor. Around this time, I also learned about the story of Jeff the Prosperous, actually. So around the time I find out about my cancer, I also was watching a lot of Homestead How and heard about you and Jeff and his journey. So I did use being in ketosis as part of my treatment, fastings before and after my treatments. And so far, the bottom line is 3 cystoscopies. It was in the bladder. It was 3 cystoscopies, a CAT scan, multiple urine tests. So far, everything it's negative.
Nice.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So Jeff, in a way, helped you out as well.
Oh yeah, I was going along the rabbit hole, doing my own research, and basically validating. Then I found Jeff and Cayman. I had found a few months before. So actually, when I was fasting very similarly the first few times I had my treatments, I was using multiple anti-glutamic herbal remedies along with the traditional therapy. I did not forego traditional therapy either. Jeff was getting his treatments, but it was a very encouraging story. I was saddened to hear when the end came, but he made it so much longer than expected by anyone.
And he helped so many people. He helped so many people along the way.
Yep, he did.
Oh, yes. Yep, for sure.
He was
the perfect student. He was he took the information and he dove in. He did what we did. He started questioning everything and diving deep into the research. So when I was going through my changes, I also had a dark spot on my liver. I didn't know what it was. I wouldn't let them do biopsies. I've seen too many videos on biopsies going wrong or maybe being the cause of spreading. I think that happened with my father-in-law. They did a biopsy on him, and then, well, I can't say if it was that or not, but then there was just cancer everywhere eventually. But I found Thomas Seyfried right away. And as soon as I watched, maybe it was a 45-minute talk. He was just talking himself. That just dove me into the deep end of the metabolic side of cancer. And I started fasting right away, on and off, using bone broth in between the long fasts. And my next scan, my doctor had said, "Nah, it's gone. We don't see anything." But at that time, I had rheumatoid arthritis, so I was popping these big ibuprofens and naproxens, these 600s. I was, down in probably about 8 of these monstrous pills a day. And I'm wondering if all that had something to do with creating that spot that was on my liver.
Is it still there? Has it gone?
Yeah, it's
away?
gone. It went away pretty fast because at that time I was switching to carnivore and applying the fasts, and it went away pretty fast. So I can't say if it was a tumor. I can't say if it was just damage caused by all the I keep calling it medication. Um, the poison of the ibuprofens and the naproxens that I was taking, but it did go away. It took about 3 months of lifestyle change.
I'm gonna put the address of this article. It's recent, from last month, I think. Keto diet reveals a new way to starve deadly cancer cells. This is a new study. This one, I think it's a pancreas study, but I'm going to put says Dr. Kills. That was me putting it, but we keep finding this same thing over and over and over. Over the weekend, I was listening to Dr. Laura Buchanan. She was talking about cancer as well, metabolic theory of cancer, and all these things. By the way, she's going to be with us next week. So if you haven't read it, I put the address in the chat.
Okay, great. So we do have some questions. So there is a question from Papa Carnivore. Well, we're going to try to get around to all the questions, but I want to ask Dwight these specific ones. Dwight, how many people in your Six Nations community have you been able to help reverse diabetes with their diabetes, high blood pressure, fatty liver, etc.?
So locally, it's around 30 locally. I do have a business called the Apothecary, where I have a lot of non-natives that come in looking for some sort of natural remedies, and that's where I help a lot of people, is out of the Apothecary. But what I love about all this is it snowballs, right? So knowing the 20, 25 to 30 that I've helped in the community, I don't know how many have gone on past that to pass on to their loved ones, right? But it's high blood pressure, fatty liver. I had all those. Yeah, I had all well, I guess fatty liver happens first, right? When you start becoming metabolically dysfunctioned.
Very often, not everybody though. 80% of people with diabetes have fatty liver, and it's all different manifestations of the same metabolic dysfunction. So yes, it can happen, and it's frequently happening in diabetic. Up to 80% of diabetics have fatty liver disease.
There you go. And then
throw this out there if I can. I have had a guy that came in a couple of days ago to my Apothecary. His name's Sean, and he had prostate cancer 9 months ago. And just by applying the Thomas Seyfried, I call it the Thomas Seyfried protocol, and it took him about 9 months, and his prostate cancer was gone. So anybody out there with prostate cancer, there is hope.
When I was when I first discovered this, one of the first people I was trying to communicate with was Dr. Thomas Seyfried, and finally got his email address, and he was one of the first people to answer me back and send me his whole. I mean, he sent me so much information, and I was able to then contact other people, but I did put into practice most of what I could from his press pulse protocol.
Great. I wanted to add this from Don Smith. Dwight, what things do you do to keep and teach your culture in Six Nations? I live in the area where Shawnee Nation was prevalent. I guess in Six Nations and in your apothecary, what actions do you take?
What's the teacher?
Like, what do you do
So
to teach people?
We first I obviously first thing is I always tell them to let your doctor know that what you're about to do, right? Because I don't know how many people, I do ask if they are on high blood pressure meds or whatever, but I make sure that they do let their doctors know that, you know, you're about to make a lifestyle change that, especially if you're on a high blood pressure med, could be dangerous. But what I do is I teach more about an ancestral based diet. So that would be meat again, fall, winter, in the spring. And then if they want to have the berries in season only, and the berries that were native to North America. So we get a lot of stuff, that a lot of fruits here that are not native, like the apple trees, cherry, peach, all these trees that we have in North America that would never existed here. I think that's a problem. I've watched enough Robert Lustig and uh, give fruit the boot. Who says that?
I don't know,
Well,
but I like it.
Dr. Lustig, by the way, book I read from him, Metabolic. Very, very good information. A lot of good information there. We need to try to get him. I don't know if you have tried, Alia, but
What's that? Dr.
Robert,
Lustig?
Robert Lustig, yeah.
Yeah, I need yeah, working on it.
All right, next question.
Next question. Here we go. This is from Cookie Carter. Hello from Barbados. Can fasting help with bloating in ketogenic diet for 2 weeks? Strict 2 weeks. Thank you. Oh, I want to answer this question. I'm really curious. What is your strict ketogenic diet? Because if it's a lot of vegetables, that could be contributing to the bloating. If it's a lot of keto treats, that could be contributing to the bloating. I would ditch anything that is not a whole food and possibly ditch the vegetables. What do you think? Would fasting help, Dr. Nelson?
Dwight?
What do you think, Dwight?
If you're doing a ketogenic diet, you're probably still eating some veg, right? And yeah, you're going to get a lot of a backup caused by that fiber. Again, it depends on how much veg you're eating, but you imagine filling your intestines with a solid material like that backing you up, or even the oxidized why can I say that word? Oxidization. Anyway, of that material, the fermentation process of that material in your gut is going to create a lot of gases, and that would be my first guess is, are you still eating too much veg or not? I guess not too much veg, but are you still eating veg on your ketogenic diet? And that was one of the reasons why I did get rid of a lot of my veggies, because I got bloated. I got very bloated, and I felt almost like I had allergies to it, right? Yesterday I was cutting grass yesterday, and there was long grass. Today I woke up with like these little blisters on my legs that I know I'm allergic to the plant material, right? And I just imagine that's what's going on inside of us when we're eating something we're not supposed to be eating, right? We're not cows.
So
Yeah.
that definitely. Alia mentioned, this is true, going back to, if you're eating a lot of vegetables, a lot of fiber, very often people get a lot of bloating because of what Dwight mentioned, the fermentation. These we are not naturally able to process them very easily. So yes, you might have a lot of bloating from that. Also, the keto treats, the different artificial sugars may actually cause bloating. Listen, if you're getting rid at least of the sugar. I don't mind the artificial sugars, but that should be sort of a transition food rather than a permanent staple in your diet, right? So it also depends the amounts that you're having of this. A typical ketogenic diet might tell you, have a couple of cups of spinach or kale or any other green leafy vegetable, and maybe that's too much for you. Um, give it a try, uh, decreasing that, and you can give it a try with carnivore. Try for a couple of weeks, 30 days, see how you feel. Most people are going to decrease. The bloating is going to decrease.
I think the biggest culprits is xylitol and erythritol. A lot of the
Yeah.
sweeteners like monk fruit and stevia, well, not so much stevia, but mostly monk fruit is cut with erythritol, and if you take too much of that,
Right.
you'll get a lot of bloating.
Yeah. I buy allulose with monk fruit, no erythritol in it, for my wife, and I use allulose myself.
So what do you think about the studies on allulose? I watch a lot of Dr. Ben Bick. I call him a doctor, but just because
Well, he's a doctor. He's a PhD,
yeah,
so he's a doctor.
yeah.
He's not a physician, but he's a doctor.
No, but he refers to himself as a professor, right? But
He's a.
I'm like, no, you're not a professor. You're a Dr. Professor Bickman. That's who you are.
I watch him a lot. It seems to have some GLP property. It's not as potent as the GLP medications, but you have to be careful with the GLP medications because they can have a lot of side effects as well. So, but I recommend him to everyone. Dr. Bigman is great.
Yeah, he's a lot of good information.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dwight, are you named like I like Ike? I don't know what that means, but
So, my dad says that he did name me after the president.
oh wow.
Yeah.
So the
There
answer
you
is
go.
yes. The answer
Yes.
is yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's Julie Marie, strict carnivore. I find it interesting. I no longer need to salt food at all. When I started carnivore, I felt awful without it. Curious why this is.
I bet you she was causing an imbalance in her electrolytes. Like, so too much sodium can have an imbalance with potassium, and she could probably have been doing that.
But it sounds like she initially needed to do it, and eventually, because
Right. Doesn't need it now.
I felt awful without it, but then now she doesn't need it anymore, which seems to be a pattern with some veteran carnivores. Initially, they needed much more salt, and then there's decreasing. Some others still use large amounts of. When I say large amounts, some carnivores might use 5 to 7 grams of sodium a day, for example. Dave Feldman uses up to 12. So it varies. You find your sweet spot for yourself. I'm glad Juliette Marie found the way she's feeling best.
I bet
Great.
it depends on activity level. I'm very athletic myself, and I find I need to be bringing in that salt. I've become iodine, not iodine deficient, but I do also take some iodine because I'm sweating a lot. So I think a lot of it has to do with maybe activity level. I know Chafee, he says he doesn't use salt or wasn't using salt there for a little while, and he was feeling good.
Yeah.
I feel like I do need that extra
Yeah,
kick of
I still need it myself, and I still use, but as needed. I just Okay.
I just want to add this, Marine, at Sally, my salt needs to change with the weather. When it's hot, I crave more salt. I wonder if you're sweating more and you lose more salt. There you go. I'm also curious, like if you do carnivore for long enough, maybe you get the salt out of the meat that you're eating, the food that you're eating, and it feels sufficient.
Well, the meat has some sodium, some potassium. I mean, it just has some.
Yeah.
But what happens at the beginning of any low carbohydrate diet, you all of a sudden are introducing a diuretic effect with the diet. Not having so many carbohydrates decreases your circulating carbohydrates, which let the kidney know it's okay to lose fluid, and water never moves by itself within or outside the body. It never moves from your bloodstream to your cells by itself. It always moves with either or all of them: sodium, potassium, magnesium, creating a differential across the membranes. There's always some type of electrolyte moving with the water. Water cannot move purely by itself. So one of the things that happens at the beginning, and the beginning of a low carbohydrate diet could be years for some people, where they continue to release fluids, and in the urine in particular, you're going to have sodium, potassium, magnesium, chloride go out with the urine.
Learned something new today. Did not know that.
That's one of the things that when I'm working with somebody, I do talk a lot about electrolytes, because I start out with the whole 1 gram of carb equals 4 grams of water. And when you start cutting back on those carbs, you're going to lose that water retention, and out goes a lot of electrolytes. So I make sure people are taking electrolytes. You know what I don't understand, Dr. Nelson? So my mom just got put on a diuretic for she got a clot in her left shoulder happening. And so they put her on a diuretic, but they put her on a diuretic
To
and then
treat
they
the blood
start noticing
pressure?
things. Pardon me?
To treat blood hypertension?
Yeah, to treat, because
Okay.
she's right now, she's on one side, it's very high, on the other side, it's normal. The blood pressure is. So they're treating the hypertension with a diuretic, and now they're noticing in her urine, they're noticing more protein. They're noticing, but okay, aside from that, I don't understand why they're not backing or replacing the electrolytes that she's losing from that diuretic, right? Or when doctors put a patient on a GERD medication, they're not giving them the vitamins, the B vitamins and stuff that they're not going to be able to naturally absorb as well. So all these medications seem to have a downfall to them that the doctors aren't replacing, or maybe they don't know to replace them. I don't know. Maybe you can give me a little
No,
insight on
I mean, we know what a diuretic pulls out. So frequently, now the traditional treatment of hypertension, diuretics are one of the 4 or 5 medications that are given first line. But traditionally, people are also told keep your salt low, a low sodium diet. Keep it no more than 2,000 milligrams a day, along with giving you the diuretic. Many doctors will automatically give you some potassium because it's one of the major electrolytes that will go with most diuretics. There are some diuretics that are actually potassium sparing. So it depends on the medication, and you do replace sometimes, in particular the potassium, because potassium abnormalities can cause a lot of side effects. But yeah, diuretics are not me personally, as a physician, not my first choice to use. I think I think hypertension needs to be treated, needs to be controlled. It's a major risk of stroke and heart attacks and kidney dysfunction. The protein might be coincidental that they have found it now, not necessarily because of any medication. Does she have diabetes?
No,
No. Okay.
no, she don't.
But
We have a question from Instagram.
okay.
Carnivore crowd. I'm strict carnivore for 18 months now. Lately, I'm having trouble with motivation and energy levels. Any tips and insights are welcome.
Dwight?
First, I would ask about your electrolytes. How are the electrolytes looking? Are you?
It's a frequent cause if you're on a carnivore diet, even a low carbohydrate diet. Fatigue sometimes can be easily fixed with the proper electrolytes. It's not
Okay.
always the only cause, but it is a frequent cause.
Exactly. Here's another question along the same lines from Sisse. Can we get enough potassium from a strict carnivore diet?
I don't
What do you
know
think?
about
What do
that.
you think, Dwight?
Well, the researcher says the needs that you need somewhere between 4,500 and 5,000 milligrams of potassium, and I know I'm not getting that from the 2 pounds of meat that I eat a day. So myself, I do supplement that with a little bit of no salt, and I'm making sure that I'm up near my daily requirement. But to get that much potassium, eating just again, that comes back to like when I went vegan, I had to eat this massive amount of food just to get my protein. So I don't know. What do you think, Dr. Nelson?
Well, we mentioned Dr. Chafee doesn't use anything additionally. I don't know if he uses specifically potassium. By the way, I also use no salt and regular. I don't buy prepackaged electrolytes necessarily. I have done it in the past, but I use a little bit of no salt. Sometimes I have used exogenous ketone salts that have potassium. But when I made my concoction, I add some sodium chloride, regular salt. I do put about a quarter of that same dose to a half of that. If I use a teaspoon of the regular salt, I put a quarter teaspoon or half a teaspoon in my water, 20 to 40 ounces of the no salt, which is a potassium salt. But don't do it to excess my my body tells me with either fatigue or also cramps, which are basically controlled with just doing magnesium on a regular basis.
Great. Here's the next question. Lynn J. Dwight, please let me know what supplements you would recommend for a beginner on carnivore.
So if this was somebody that was a beginner to a new lifestyle change as well, I would recommend, I recommend 4, and that's D3. I'm assuming that they're coming off of a Canadian or American food guideline, the SAD diet. So I'd recommend D3. I guess they're supplements. So it'd be your electrolytes, your zinc, and the K2. Those are the 4 main ones that I recommend. Also get tested though as well, right? Get tested in Canada here. I can't find anywhere where we can do a lymphocyte proliferation test, a vitamin panel. I know you guys can do that over in the States. So I get people to get their D level, but everybody that comes back to me with their D hydroxy 25 tests are all low, so low all the time. So I usually recommend D3, K2, electrolytes, and zinc.
You also are in a place where you don't get a lot of sun during the day, and of course, at least when sun is out, please try to get it. It's part of lifestyle changes that you should be doing. A lot of people need supplementation of vitamin D, and if you're going to take vitamin D, you might as well take one that has vitamin K2 with it, right?
Right.
All right, Ashley.
Ashley on Facebook. Ashley, I'm 4 months in and my blood pressure is high. I've never had blood pressure problems. Could you tell me what I'm doing wrong?
She's 4 months in. I'm gonna have to assume carnivore.
Yeah.
But she doesn't say it. I don't find this frequently. People going on a low carb diet or carnivore diet, the blood pressure actually going high. So what was it before? Was it normal and it's going high now?
I guess if we assume that it was high, it was normal before, and now she's saying it's high.
I don't want to assume that because
Yeah.
that we don't know. And so we need more information. But the question is sort of implying that it was normal before. She says, I never had blood pressure problems before. Are you having symptoms now and you didn't have symptoms before? A couple of things about hypertension. Most of the time, we don't know the cause. Up to 90% or more of hypertension when I went to medical school, we don't know the cause. It seems that the cause is a chronic excessive carbohydrate consumption. Okay, that's what the cause for most people with hypertension is. Too many carbs. Okay, and there is a 5 to 10% other causes of hypertension. Okay, you need to find out from your doctor. Your doctor should be curious if your blood pressure is not being well controlled, to find out if there are other causes of hypertension, kidney problems, any aortic problem, any circulation problems. Do you have any tumor secreting catecholamines or cortisol, hypertension, thyroid problems? There are multiple other specific and treatable causes of hypertension. You need to have that checked.
Okay, great. She says strict carnivore for 4 months. I have a very nice comment here. Susie Sky says, I'm Shawnee. Great to see an indigenous carnivore authority. Yay.
We need more. My people are so sick, and we get sick so easily. And after watching Ben Bickman, I believe it's because we have such a low fat threshold, or we did generations. We were a very thin race, right? So I think we still have that, because you'll see a lot of people in my community. They'll be thin-legged, thin-armed, but have the like the fatty liver look, the belly, the visceral fat look. And I think it is because we have a very low fat threshold. We get sick very easily, and we need more people like myself out there talking and trying to catch this early. I was just talking with somebody yesterday while I was cutting grass. They came over to say hello, and he was talking about his son and his son not feeling well and whatnot. And so they went from boob to formula to apple juice to milk to orange juice for this kid, right? And I was explaining to him like insulin. I talk to people a lot about insulin and how quickly we become sick. So here's a question or a thought for you, Dr. Nelson, is we make our kids pre-diabetic so early in life, or even I'm quickly learning that insulin resistance actually isn't a term and doesn't exist. And I'm having problems with that thought because I've been watching Ben Bickman for so long. But after watching Richard Smith and him explaining insulin, it's all hyperglycemia, right? But we get these kids pre-diabetic or insulin resistant even before they get in their teenage years, when they naturally become insulin resistant. So what do you think happens there? Do they
It's all
come
in the diet. It's all in the diet. Our diet nowadays is full of ultra processed foods, which is a lot of fructose, refined sugar. Okay, and all of a sudden, you look at your diet, and your ancestors go back only 150 to 200 years. Our diet is not the same nowhere in the globe. Okay, indigenous people have no tolerance for the ultra processed foods in particular, right? This has been proven with several cohorts, populations, when their diet changes from their typical, whatever the typical diet is, to a standard American diet, which is full of ultra processed foods, we all get sick a lot easier. Okay, about fifth of my DNA is from indigenous Caribbean people. The rest is mixed from everywhere. By the way, I am a mixed. A lot of DNA from Africa, Europe, primarily Spain and Portugal, and we don't tolerate these changes to this modern diet very easily, and makes us sick. And insulin, yes, it's at the forefront. It's not all hyperglycemia, because this is what happens. The insulin keeps going up, okay, trying to counter the excessive amounts of glucose in our diet, and it does a good job at doing that until it doesn't anymore. That's when your blood sugars start rising. So before there is even hyperglycemia, your body's not listening to insulin anymore. Do you want to call it insulin resistance? Do you want to call it insulin insensitivity? Do you want to explain it by the Randall cycle? It doesn't matter which way you explain it. You're putting too many carbohydrates in your mouth, excessive amounts, and that snowballs.
So what do you think about when the child is going from either insulin resistance or pre-diabetic, and then when they jump into the teenage years, they naturally become insulin resistant? So are they going from insulin resistance to diabetes? Because your body puts you into insulin resistance in two states, right? Adolescency or pregnancy. So I'm wondering if it just, or
in women, there are three natural periods of time: adolescence, pregnancy, and menopause. Diabetes is the ultimate metabolic dysfunction. So it's sort of a spectrum all along the way. The ultimate and worst, as far as associated risk, is diabetes. But there's like 40 or 50 on that list. It's not only the ones we have mentioned. I mean, you can easily go through at least 30 things that are happening, but everything starts with one thing. Why is the insulin going high? Because you're eating too many carbohydrates, or like Dr. Kiltz likes to say, you're eating plants.
He's very specific. You're eating either plants or animals. Dwight, do you have Pat is asking if you have a YouTube channel.
I don't yet. That's in the process. I'm slowly learning all this. So I wanted to put something up here earlier about that person that was asking about high blood pressure, or they got blood pressure afterwards. So I just watched an episode with Richard Smith yesterday, and they were talking about how would I post that link? The YouTube link.
Let's see. You can email it to me and I can post it. Or maybe I can find it. Was it their live stream yesterday?
Are you streaming this to any of your channels?
I don't have any channels myself.
Okay. Send us a link and we can post it, or are you able to? Maybe he cannot post a comment, right?
But was it in there? Yeah, he can't post it. Was it their live stream that they did yesterday? Richard Smith.
Oh, so I did put something in our studio chat.
Oh, okay, good. Perfect. I can get that.
So I was watching this yesterday, and somebody asked that question, and he had a really good response. Had something to do with your body normalizing and losing a lot of the water retention, and it being easier for blood flow to circulate. And that had something to do. He explained it so well. I'm just gonna butcher it if I try.
Well, I put it in there.
Yeah. I watch about, I would say, close to 8 episodes of just everybody every day. It's
I love that.
It's my addiction. Learning health. I like watching a lot of the Peter Osborne. Do you watch Peter Osborne, Dr. Nelson?
Actually, no.
Oh, you got.
I love watching. What's his name? Richard Smith.
Yep.
He is great.
I want to answer this question right here. From Lynn's Soul Seat. Okay, I totally butchered that. I'm sorry. I have a 13-year-old who is already having a hard time regulating emotions. I have BPD. What's BPD, Dr. Nelson?
Bipolar disease.
Oh, okay. Bipolar disease.
Disorder.
Okay. So I'm wondering if I should help her now on a proper human diet, or is it too early? No weight issues. 100% get her on a proper human diet right now. Not too early.
And if you're here and you're not mentioning if you're carnivore, but I'm going to say it if you haven't heard it before. There are 2 books out there written by both Harvard psychiatrists, Brain Energy by Dr. Christopher Palmer, and Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind by Dr. Georgia Ede. Those 2 books are a must read if you have any mental illness of any kind, whether you consider it mild, moderate, severe. Just read the books, because me telling you that things can change dramatically is probably not powerful enough. We had about a month ago, we had Valerie Ann Smith.
Yeah, on the Zoom call. It was like a couple weeks ago.
She was hearing voices at the age of 8. Had diagnosed schizophrenia. Had diagnosed almost any mental illness disorder. Okay. By the way, she also reversed osteoporosis. I am having her in a few weeks at 3 p.m.
Yep.
And so, anyways, I've heard so many people with the same story and reversing schizophrenia, bipolar illness, anxiety, depression, kind of a whole spectrum of mental illnesses with going into a low carbohydrate diet. Okay. Doesn't have to be only carnivore. If at least you decrease the amount of carbohydrates, you improve mitochondrial dysfunction, and you can reverse a lot of this stuff. That doesn't mean you go off medication. You see your doctors, work with your doctors, but this is a very powerful adjunct treatment. So the answer is one word, yes, or 2 words, heck yes.
And right now. Absolutely right now. 13, puberty's hitting. You're a girl. All this stuff is changing in your body. Like, we have 2 beautiful men right here right now. They didn't go through the puberty that I went through. I was eating terrible. She needs to be on the proper human diet right now. Bacon and eggs. It's going to save her life. There you go. Just do it.
So
Because in addition to whatever emotions, that period is terrible when you are eating the wrong foods, and it's going to destroy her. Sorry. Truth. Yes, Dwight.
So that third link that I just posted in our studio chat is Dr. Osborne talking about also the gluten effects of bipolar, or gluten causing bipolar, and how and why.
Okay, I'm going to put it in there right now. Amazing. I'm going to watch that also. It's an hour.
By the way,
We're at an hour
do you
right
know
now.
do you know what foods don't have gluten? My favorite food to eat that is gluten free.
Meat.
True. I want to make a quick announcement. The team here, we're working on the Kilts Health Coaching Certification course. I have a survey that I'm trying to get some more answers to. I would love it if everybody here could just take a second after the live stream and fill out the survey. I'm copying the link. I think that should work. It's a Google Doc form. Oh, it's not letting me do it. Let's see.
So what is this that Dr. Kilts is doing?
We're putting together a certification course to become a Kilts health coach. So to become a health coach.
Yes, I'd like that. I still get a lot of people, because I don't have that certification, question, do you know what you're talking about? Right? They don't take into account the I just got over 7,000 hours of videos and research and stuff that I do. I just got over that a couple of days ago. So they don't take into consideration all that time and effort that we put into this. So I'm looking to get certified is what I'm.
Well, as soon as it's ready, I will let you know.
Awesome.
Keep watching the channel. Are you a Kilts Mighty Tribe member, Dwight?
Am I?
I'll send you the link. It's free.
I'm a member with so many.
It's free. You don't have to pay anything. It's free. So I didn't realize the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. It's we couldn't even get to all the questions. It's time. We got to do the giveaway now. Where is the giveaway? Oh, I gotta give me a second.
Yeah, I got one of those cups.
Before that, June 7 is approaching very quickly.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what do we have on June 7?
June 7th is a meetup in Seattle, Washington. Dr. Kilts, the Healing Humanity team, Bella, Dr. Baker, Dr. Nelson, of course. And
you might see Dr. Baker lifting Dr. Nelson. I don't know.
Please, oh my God, can you please make that happen? Please make that happen. Oh my gosh, we need a video.
Doing chest press.
We gotta make that happen.
June 27, we're gonna be where?
Be in Boston. So that is Dr. Nelson, Dr. Kilts, Dr. Boz, Professor Thomas Seyfried, myself. I'll be there. And we have Amy's going to be telling her story. Amy Perrin, Diane Ladd's going to be telling her story. So make sure you're there. It's going to be at the Westin Copley Place in Boston, and lunch will be at Fogo de Chao, which is in the same building as the hotel. And the tickets are for sale. You go to kiltsmeetup.com and you can get your tickets to both those events.
I've been at that Westin.
Is it? How do you like it?
It was a long time ago. It was like 1989, I think, but 1990.
Maybe they did some upgrades since the, what is that, 35 years?
I lived in Massachusetts 8 years, and anyways, it was nice. So let's do the
Nice. Oh
giveaway.
yeah. Okay. So we got it. So I have the thing on my other computer. I'm trying to switch it over. Oh boy. I don't know. Let me see. I hope I can do this. 1 second. Give me a second. Let's, I hope, oh man. I am streaming from one computer, but I put the giveaway on the other computer. So, uh-oh. Uh-oh. 1 second. Sorry, everybody. I just found out something interesting. That's not a good idea to do that. Hold on, please hold.
No.
You guys, here, while I'm fixing this, why don't we answer this question?
Do you have the giveaway?
Yeah, it's just like I have it on my computer that's right here, not thinking it would be a problem that I'm streaming somewhere else. So just give me a second and it will be all good. I'm gonna go out of the studio while I do this. Can you guys answer this question?
Do you want me to show the giveaway? I can. Okay. Does uric acid go up on carnivore? This is the conventional wisdom. Dwight, what do you tell patients about uric acid?
My uric acid level on carnivore went down. But what I do know about uric acid is for every 1 fructose molecule that is created, you create 1 uric acid molecule. So where does fructose come from? Fructose comes from fruit. Well, again, plants, but fruit and high carb diets, sugar. Sugar is made of fructose, right? Half fructose.
Yeah, the table sugar is half glucose, half fructose.
Yeah.
So basically, it is more uric acid producing probably than any meat ever is. So one of the things that may happen with most carnivore diets is you could have people with gout seems to have, for some reason, more uric acid production, and they're more sensitive to uric acid being around and precipitating and causing gout. You could have a transitional or transitory elevation of uric acid. Most people goes down. I always give the example of I have a cousin who has gout and he kept calling me, I'm having this attack. So I said, cut the fruit, cut the juices. If you're eating organ meat, maybe that is a high purine group. Don't eat the organ meats. Keep eating the steaks. He hasn't had one more heart gout attack since he cut down on the fruits. He kept eating meat. Okay, maybe they're do a little bit of research. They are high purine producing foods, moderate and mild groups. The number one thing that is never ever mentioned there is the fructose. Fructose produces as much uric acid or more than any meat would.
Yeah. So uric acid, too much uric acid as well can be a reason for high blood pressure.
Yes.
Okay, let's do the giveaway. Drum roll. For a Kilts Cup. Who's put in today? Rhea Hawkins. Congratulations. And I like what it says. Count your blessings, not your problems. Love that. All right. Email me, Rhea at alia@drkilts.com. You got to spell out doctor. There you go. email me
Yeah,
your
Ryan,
address.
these cups are amazing. I got a cup when Kills was there
Awesome.
for my my meetup that I had. And
love that.
they are, aren't they crazy? They're so nice that he makes them, right?
Yeah. This is a smaller one. He has some bigger ones. And other,
I think
by
that
the
they
way,
get the smaller one. They get the smaller one. They get the espresso cup.
yes.
So
They
there
and
you
if
go.
you want, you can go to kiltscups.com, right?
That's right. Kiltscups.com. All right, everybody. Well, that was a fast 70 minutes. That's all I
Thank
gotta
you.
say.
Thank you, Dwight, for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
thank you, Dr.
everyone, for
Nelson,
being
for all
here.
the good stuff you do out there. And Alia, you're so good at putting this all together.
Oh, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
You're so welcome. All right, everybody. I'm
5:30
gonna hit
p-
end stream now.
5:30 p.m. today, Kills Mighty Tribe Zoom call.
Yes, and we have
Be
Ash
there.
time.
Be there or be square.
Be there or be square.
Have a good day.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Have a good day, guys.